How did Chris Sacca, the tech-savvy billionaire investor, get rich? We answer that in today's episode.
My name is Dan Henry, and when I was 16 years old, I decided that I wanted to be rich. So I studied as many wealthy entrepreneurs as I could and used what I learned to create my own successful business. The purpose of this channel is to share my research with the world and show you how they got rich.
In just 9 years, Chris Sacca worked his way from having almost nothing to having a net worth of more than $1 billion. With investments in businesses like Twitter and Uber, Chris Sacca is a billionaire for the next generation. But thanks to the dot-com bust of 2000, Chris was left with $4 million in debt. The job he got to help pay off his enormous debt quickly laid him off due to budget cuts, and Chris struggled to find any work. Now happily married and comfortably retired, how did Chris Sacca go from having $4 million in debt to a world-renowned billionaire in less than a decade? Chris Sacca was born on May 12, 1975, and even from a young age, he knew he wanted to do something big. He wanted to do something with high risks and high rewards. He went on to attend Georgetown University to pursue a degree in law, but he wasn't there to become a lawyer. He was there because he thought it was the fastest way to get a seat in Silicon Valley. Always working smarter, not harder, he claims he managed to graduate without attending class. He and a friend would throw an annual BYON, Bring Your Own Notes, keg party. If you wanted in, you had to deposit your notes from the year in a bin at the front. Chris would later compile those notes into a guide to study from and pass all of his classes without ever attending. Even while in university, Chris was fascinated with investing. He found a flaw in the software of online trading brokers, and he used that to turn $20,000 into $12 million in less than 2 years. He didn't redeem his money in time though, and he lost it all during the dot-com bust, leaving Chris $4 million in debt. Determined to pay off his debt, Chris moved to Silicon Valley, California, and worked for a law firm known as Fenwick & West. He was let go not long after joining thanks to a wide-scale cut at the law firm. Chris was left scrambling to find a job just to pay his bills, much less pay off his debt. He managed to get in with Google and was finally able to start paying off his debt. He helped Google create data centers around the world, and for the period he was with Google, he became known as the guy who wears the cowboy shirts. He bought his first one on a whim in the Reno airport on the way to give a speech, and the reaction he received prompted him to go back and buy out half the store. He now owns more than 70 different embroidered cowboy shirts and wears them to all of his business meetings. He says that entrepreneurs get disappointed when I show up without one of these. During his time at Google, he became more and more interested in the startup companies that were popping up all around Silicon Valley. Soon able to pay off his debt, Chris found opportunities to work with small companies in the area. So he decided to leave Google, with nothing but a name for himself as the guy who wore cowboy shirts to work, and establish his own investment company. Chris started Lowercase Capital in 2007, an investment firm specifically designed to cater to the up-and-coming social media companies that were springing up in Silicon Valley. At the time, these companies were in their infancy, but Chris could see that they were going to go further than anyone could have anticipated. Something told him that this would become the generational boom that they'd been waiting for. He took a huge risk and got in early with companies like Facebook, Uber, and Twitter. But huge risks can lead to huge rewards, and he quickly began to reap the benefits of investing in the once small companies that were now taking off. When talking about Chris, Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer said, "Chris has found every hot startup in the Valley and found them all during angel rounds. This is completely without precedent or equivalent. Chris has an unparalleled eye for investment, and he can spot a winner from a mile away." His ability to choose winning startups is the biggest reason he's so successful today, and that's something that he is well aware of. In 2015, during an interview with tech investor Tim Ferriss, Chris pointed to his ability to spot and develop startups that would become billion-dollar companies. He suggested that his ability came from nearly 20 years of experience and the counsel of veteran investors. Chris didn't study business or engineering, doesn't know how to program a computer, and he never worked at a big venture firm. He learned from those around him and was never afraid to take risks if he felt the reward would be worth it. He meets founders and makes friends with the people he thinks will go the farthest. He knows how to market himself and use networking to his advantage. Chris doesn't necessarily see his role as a venture capitalist anymore. Instead, he's focused on the bigger picture, doing good in the world. It was a shock to much of the world when in 2017, he announced that he was leaving the venture capital industry to focus on his family and his charitable efforts. Chris Sacca retired from business at age 41, just a little later than his university goal of graduating before 40. Although he no longer manages the day-to-day at Lowercase Capital, Chris says that he goes out and finds talented, driven, boundlessly ambitious people to help them solve problems that will hopefully improve the lives of millions. Retirement hasn't stopped him from lending his knowledge, expertise, and experience to up-and-coming startups and entrepreneurs who want to become rich like him. Chris told Business Insider that his biggest tips for young investors are to invest only when you can add value, to not open yourself up to every deal, to give yourself a chance to get rich, and to be proud of what you've achieved. Being proud of your work ensures that you don't compromise your integrity when making money. Chris told Business Insider about a few of the companies he's decided not to invest in. Some examples he mentioned are advertising businesses that place deceptive ads on misspelled domains, subscription services that are intentionally difficult to cancel, products built on unsubstantiated claims, and social networks that utilize anonymous content. While those kinds of businesses are bound to make money, Chris wanted no part in them. He said, "It seemed like a good way to make money, but I don't want to have to explain to my kids that that's how I've made money." He valued his integrity more than the bottom line, and that's exactly what has made him such a respected and successful businessman. Only in his early 40s, Chris Sacca is part of an incredible new generation of billionaires. He built his empire during one of the most exciting tech booms in history and played a role in the development of some of the largest social media companies in the world. He went from having lost it all in a market crash to a self-made billionaire in less than a decade. He serves as the perfect example for the millennial generation. He paved his own way, cowboy shirts and all, and he wants to show other entrepreneurs and investors just how they can do the same. Chris Sacca says, "There's no well-trodden route to where I am, no formula to replicate, but without exception, everyone I've ever met who is authentic, daring, empathic, tireless, and willing to ask for help has gone on to be happy and fulfilled."
Hey, Dan Henry here, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of How They Got Rich. I created this channel because these men and women inspired me to quit my job years ago as a pizza boy and pursue entrepreneurship, which eventually led me to become a multi-millionaire. If you'd like to know more about that, you can follow me on my main YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan Henry. But before you go, I'd like to remind you why the people on this channel are successful, as well as myself. It's because they've mastered three main areas of their life: business, productivity, and mindset. And that's why I've made it my life's work to help others in those three key areas. So here are 3 ways I can help you right now. If you own a business and you're looking to grow it, you can head over to getclients.com and learn how we built a $20 million business, as well as learn how these strategies can apply to your business. You'll find a collection of free trainings, podcasts, and blog posts on that website to help you grow your business. As well, you can grab a free copy of my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets, which is a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. You can find that on getclients.com. Number 2, you can head over to plantomorrow.com and check out the Plan Tomorrow Daily Planner. This is a planner I personally designed to make myself more productive and get things done. Because the truth is, if you want to do big things, you have to get things done. And I know this planner will help change your life like it's changed mine. For a limited time, it also comes with a free productivity class taught by me. So head over there right now and grab yourself a copy. And finally, number 3, if you're struggling with mindset, confidence, motivation, imposter syndrome, or you're just looking to develop a rock-solid mindset so you can achieve more in life, then I want you to head over to howtothink.com, where we have daily mindset mentoring on how to achieve anything in life by changing the way you think. So grab a copy of your Plan Tomorrow Daily Planner now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next episode.